Hola, everybody. I think I had this download today about giving this whole contextual thought thing a little different take. And I just want to see if this makes a little more sense. And it has to do, I know you've all heard of I am, the I amness. The split mind is consciousness, okay? So we have this split mind, and it vacillates between the Holy Spirit mind, which is I am, and the egoic mind, which is I am this. So every time we say I am cold, I'm unhappy, I am sad, I'm angry, all of that is from the egoic mind. And I was just thinking it might be helpful, I am a mother, or I am a father, or I am a lover, or, I am a daughter, I am a girlfriend, I am a boyfriend. Those are all egoic thoughts. So if you can kind of hear your thinking when you run across these thoughts of, I am a child, or I'm a daughter, stop immediately, because the ego mind has split you off into some belief system. And if you can kind of, you can write about, I really feel like at this point, writing is probably the most helpful. If you can write about your ideas of what it means to be a daughter, you can really uncover quite quickly these belief systems. And once you get a belief system, you offer it to Holy Spirit and you say, help me see my daughterness through your eyes, through Holy Spirit's eyes. Because God doesn't see us as any context. So God doesn't see us as a daughter, a mother, a son, a Buddhist, a Christian. God doesn't see any of that. So we have to kind of really catch it in our thinking. And then, I'll talk about the parable of Calico, because I had a huge concept of I am a doctor, okay? Whew. Powerful and horrible to unwind context. And it took me quite a while to unravel it, because every time I thought, particularly around here at Namaste, at breakfast, people talk about, oh, what I need to take something for this or something for that. And when I first came over here, my mind was just on fire. It would say, oh, they need magnesium. And, this is where Zip It comes in. Don't verbalize these things if you can all avoid it, because it just compounds it massively. But I had to stop saying anything I knew from a doctor's perspective. Just like, thinking my mother is this, my mother is an alcoholic. That's the ego. And so it's to really stop and catch my mother is the ego brain splitting. And if you can catch these thoughts and just on the top of the paper put, my mother's an alcoholic, and then write all the beliefs that go into that. Well, she's drinking all the time. She's, she stumbles. I can't trust her, whatever. Because those are the contexts that contain many beliefs. And if you can catch these contexts and kind of identify them as the split mind, then you can come in touch with many beliefs at one time. Like I said, this is a huge speed up. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, that's fine. Just keep forgiving one thing at a time. This is really about, if you can see this whole process that's in your mind and how to heal it through accepting the atonement on it, then you can start getting that, okay, let's look at these clusters called contexts. I am a mother, or my mother is. It's not something that is necessarily personal, but it's how we categorize our beliefs. And so if you can take these thoughts and write down about them, what do I believe a mother is? Or what do I believe my mother is? And then really work on those thought systems within that context. You'll really be able to identify a lot of how we think is so dysfunctional, and none of it's helpful. And the reality is, I mean, and I know we had talked about this at some point this past week, where we want to get to is that point of no thought, which is, it's blissful. It's, and meditation helps us to get there. But the reality is the concepts will then jump right back in. As soon as you start meditating, you maybe get 5 minutes, maybe, and then thoughts start entering in. And so really what A Course in Miracles is helping us with is get to the place of no thought by clearing out all beliefs. Because once the beliefs are gone, then there's empty, there's spaciousness. Without even meditating, you're just in a meditative state because you don't have any thoughts, which is really quite lovely. So it's really separating out this I am as where we want to get to, and seeing where we're thinking I am this, because that's filled with all those belief systems that need to be given over to Holy Spirit to see differently. And with that being said, without trying to take this too far out off base at this point, I is the self, the concept that I am a self. I'm an identity. I'm a body. I am a body with a history, with thoughts, with all of this. Am is beingness. And in its purest form, it's what we were created out of. Because God is not a form. God is not a man or a woman or a concept. God is an experience and lives in the emness. So I am is basically when we come into the world, we are an I am. And it's a beautiful place to be, but we need to work on the extension of that identity, which is I am this. Then when we get back to the I am, which is a really pristine state of consciousness, a very high state of consciousness, present moment of now type consciousness, the I will drop away. And that's where your self, your identity as a body, will start disappearing. Because you're no longer identifying with it. You're not telling yourself in the world, just listen to yourself. And this is not to make wrong. This is not to make wrong. It's just to really play a game with yourself and identify your thoughts. I am cold. I am in pain. I am unhappy. I am tired. all of those are egoic split mind thoughts. And it's just even to write them down in a journal as you come across them. You know, I am angry. You don't even have to go any further than that. But if you have a focus of the anger, write that down, because that'll help fill in the belief that you can then see differently with Holy Spirit. And then at some point that I will start dropping away, because you really start realizing you are not a body. And it's not helpful to even think of yourself as a body. And that's really a great place to be. Now, the last step, the M-ness, the beingness of who we are. And again, this is in the course they talk about, this is the last step. And this is one that Holy Spirit takes. We don't have to worry about it. We don't have to think about it. We let it go, because you're not going to be doing anything around it. This is where Holy Spirit takes over. But in the meantime, to get to this point, we have to deal with all these beliefs we hold in mind that are very true to us. I was talking to someone the other day. Again, I get a lot of this from just living in community. Birthdays are big in community. People love celebrating birthdays. I haven't celebrated them for years, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything either. But I find it kind of funny, because it's really celebrating the split mind. I am a somebody that was born on some day, and I want to be acknowledged for it. Not only acknowledged, I want to be celebrated for it. And this is where we can start, if you can start kind of disengaging from it. You know, like I challenge you to, see your birthday go by one year without doing anything. Not asking him, did you know today's my birthday? It's like, you want to go out to dinner with me? Want to make it a special day? I mean, it doesn't seem like a big thing, but it is. It's that identity that we give to ourselves. And it's the same with any holiday. I mean, oh God, we're coming up to Christmas. So it's like, it's a big holiday and everyone's making plans and, oh, let's do this and let's do this. And I'm staying very quiet. I have really no interest. And it's not like I feel like I'm missing out on anything. I just feel like it's nothing that I need to celebrate, because the celebration for me comes when I can get into that moment that we were talking about, of where all the thoughts disappear. And there's just this spaciousness to just be. And it's like, and so it's removing all these little rituals that we've become so, we love. Not only do we love, we make others wrong if they don't remember our ritual. It's Valentine's Day. Honey, did you forget it's Valentine's Day? Why didn't you give me a card? I mean, it's kind of like, so these are just concepts of belief systems that we have come into a horizontal movie that likes to celebrate to keep track of time, really. People talk about Christmas as well. I remember last Christmas was really great because I got to see my son. Well, there's so many contexts in there that can be worked through. You were celebrating a day with your son. What does that mean to you? Or you were selling a special day that last year was better than this year. What's that all about? So it's kind of really playing with these thoughts in mind, not making them wrong. I can't say that enough. If you don't want to give up your birthday, then don't. There's no need to. Keep accepting the atonement on those thoughts that you do have that you can identify, making people wrong for whatever. And it's one thought at a time, one thought at a time. I entered the whole idea of context this past week because I thought, there's a faster way to do this. And it's by really looking at the categories that we clump our beliefs in. and make those clumps mean something special that keeps the world in time and space. And so dismantling, and now, and really at this level, we're getting very quantum, which is really exciting. I mean, it's really interesting when I forget, and this happens all the time, what day it is, what year it is, what date. I don't remember any of that stuff. I mean, I go to the bank and write a check. I leave the date blank and ask them to fill it in because I have no clue. And every time I fill it in, it's wrong. Usually the year is like 2001 or, some ridiculous, because I don't remember. But you see, I no longer have those thoughts filling my head, which is beautiful. And all I can say is, once, and again, I think it was Christine, you were talking about it last time, as far as just all of a sudden going thoughtless, and really allowing all those conversations that we're having, just kind of disappear. And then it's really bliss. It's grace. It's unexplainable. I mean, there aren't even words to explain it other than it's great. It feels good. It's a happy place. It's a peaceful place. And I remember at one time I kept thinking, early on in my meditation stuff, when I had a very hard time meditating, and I'd be lucky if I can get a minute without having a thought. And then it was a half an hour worth of just fighting thoughts. No, not that. No, not that. No, not that. And it's like, I thought having no thoughts would be a very boring place because I couldn't imagine a world without these contexts. If I didn't identify myself as somebody, literally, a daughter, a friend, a doctor, then, well, that's just boring. Then I kind of blend into the wall. And in the world, in the horizontal, that's true. You do. But there's an experience that goes along with that that's just absolutely delicious. And a lot of fun. So this I amness, if you can just start hearing yourself in your thoughts as they come up. And the one I hear most in the morning is, I'm tired. People love saying that. I'm tired. I'm tired. Well, who's the one that's tired? Because it's really a belief system, and it's usually based on, and I'm saying this only because I had this one for years. How much sleep did I get last night? Did I sleep well last night? Did I get up a lot? Those are all beliefs. Because if I get up too much and I don't sleep well, it's going to result in me being tired. So you have to, when you're looking at these contexts, you'll start seeing all this other stuff that comes up and you go, oh my God, I've given it so much meaning. No wonder it's a powerful thought. I am tired. I've now got a very powerful thought, and it's based on a belief that I've been repeating for however many years, 70 years, that I could feel tired because I repeat it all the time. And half of this is to stop repeating it. So when you hear yourself, I was trying to think of a way of looking at this, and I think it could be broken out to, rather than saying, my son is, okay? Just don't claim him as a son. I'm not saying that you'll love him any less, but call them by their name. Or my mother is, well, Edith is. And it basically we start dismantling the context, this ball of beliefs that feels unmanageable, and it kind of gives you a little inroad. And again, it goes back to levels of mind. It's like that outermost ring of the levels of mind is perception. And the perception is kept alive by me repeating over and over and over again, I am this. I mean, cancer is a good one. And I realized as I was kind of working this up for today, one of the beliefs that I still hold relating to this whole concept called illness or whatever, is I'm slowing down. I'm not as fast as I used to be. I'm not as strong as I used to be. And there's a comparative, if you can see it, it's comparison in time. You know, like today, I don't see myself as strong or as fast as I was 2 years ago. So that tells me immediately that's a belief. And every time I say it, and I have done this, but I need to get much more focused with it. So every time I have that thought, I'm slow. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently and not let it jump by my mind. I don't say it out loud, but even my thoughts are my power. The mind is a very powerful thing. The mind is extremely powerful. That's what we're fearful of. We're terrified our mind is ultimately all powerful. And so if we can catch it in mind, not say anything, but allow ourselves to immediately, Holy Spirit, just help me see this differently, because there's no truth in that. It's me still believing something. I mean, pain can be handled the same way. Pain is also in the horizontal. It has a past, it has a future. And so we're believing beliefs about this existence that we call consciousness. And we want to get back to pure consciousness. We want to get back to the I am. And again, taking care of the I will happen automatically. We don't have to worry about giving up our identities. It'll just happen automatically. But we have to catch all these beliefs and start dismantling them so that we can get to this I am. And then at some point, Holy Spirit will just remove the I. And it's like, and I can only imagine what that feels like is just, well, heaven. I think that would be heaven. And I think that would be great. Doesn't mean you're going to die. It just means you're waking up from the dream and you're living in the horizontal, in the present moment of now, in the vertical. That's all it means. Okay? So with that being said, let me stop the recording. Goodbye, YouTube people.